Maya, I'm disappointed. Your brother sent us proof you lifted his entire proposal. We're suspending you. I stood there in my boss's office, frozen. Janet held printed emails in her hand. Evidence, she called it. Evidence that I'd stolen a campaign idea from my own brother's consulting firm. On the video screen behind her, Daniel sat in his home office, his face arranged in fake concern. But I could see it, that tiny smirk at the corner of his mouth. And the worst part? He was smiling through the screen. My name's Maya. I'm 26 years old. And that moment, standing in that office watching my brother destroy my career, that was the moment I realized just how far he'd go to keep me under his thumb. Let me back up a little. I'm a marketing coordinator at a mid-sized tech firm. Nothing fancy. I work hard, I'm creative, and I earn my wins quietly. I don't make a fuss. I don't demand attention. I just do the work. My brother Daniel, he's 29. He's always been the one our parents bragged about. The successful consultant. The charming one. The favorite. Growing up, he got the spotlight, the praise, the benefit of the doubt. Always. And me? I got used to being background noise. Daniel's been competitive with me since we were kids. He'd take credit for my school projects, borrow my ideas, twist things just enough that I looked like I was overreacting when I called him out. Our parents thought it was sibling rivalry. Harmless stuff. It wasn't harmless. When we both ended up in business and marketing, the tension got worse. He couldn't stand the idea that I might be good at something without his involvement, that I might succeed on my own. For the last 2 months, I'd been developing this campaign pitch. It was huge, career-defining, a project centered on small business empowerment, and it was completely mine. I'd poured everything into it. 2 weeks before that meeting in Janet's office, I'd made a mistake. I trusted him. Has your family ever treated you like this? Share your story below. At a family dinner, I mentioned the campaign. I didn't give details. I was just excited, and I thought, God, I actually thought, maybe things were different now. Maybe Daniel and I could finally support each other like normal siblings. I was so stupid. He asked questions. What's the angle? Who's the client? And I stayed vague, but I shared the general concept, the theme, the heart of it. And Daniel smiled. He said, "That's cool, sis. You've always been the creative one. Let me know if you need consulting input." My parents were thrilled. See? You two finally supporting each other like we always hoped. I felt warm. Hopeful. Like maybe, after all these years, the rivalry was ending. I was wrong. A week later, Janet called me into her office. Her expression was stern, serious. "Maya, I need to ask you directly. Did you take this campaign idea from your brother?" My stomach dropped. "What?" "No. I've been developing this for over a month." She slid a stack of printed emails across the desk, an exchange between Daniel and Mark, one of my colleagues. The emails were dated a week before that family dinner. In them, Daniel pitched a concept nearly identical to mine. His exact words, "I've been developing this for a client, but thought it might suit your company. Happy to discuss further." Mark had replied, "Interesting timing. Let me connect you with Maya. She's your sister, right?" And Daniel's response, calculated, careful. "Yes, though we keep work separate. I'd appreciate confidentiality until I decide whether to move forward." I felt sick reading it. "Your brother reached out first with this concept," Janet said. "Then you pitched the same idea. It looks like corporate espionage, Maya. He must have heard me at dinner and copied. We take intellectual property violations seriously. 2-week unpaid suspension while we investigate." Before I could argue, Daniel appeared on the video screen. His face was arranged in brotherly concern, but his eyes were cold. "Maya, I didn't want it to come to this. I just had to protect my work. My hands shook. You're lying and you know it. This was my idea. He tilted his head, maddeningly calm. I have timestamps, sis. Maybe you got confused about the timeline? The meeting ended. I was escorted to pack my desk items. My coworkers watched, whispering. And as I shoved notebooks into my bag, one of them, Sarah from accounting, leaned close. Your brother called Mark 3 times last week pushing for this meeting, she whispered. He really wanted you suspended. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about protecting his work. This was sabotage. Deliberate, calculated sabotage. And he'd enjoyed every second of it. That evening, I called my parents. I was desperate for someone to believe me. Mom, Daniel stole my campaign idea and framed me for plagiarism. There was a pause. Then, honey, are you sure there wasn't accidental overlap? Daniel's been working incredibly hard on consulting projects. Dad, I tried again. He stole my idea and backdated everything to frame me as the thief. My father sighed. These things happen in business, Maya. Maybe you both independently had similar ideas? That's a very serious accusation against your brother, Mom added. Daniel wouldn't do something that calculated. My chest tightened. They wouldn't even consider it. Later, I found out Daniel had already spun his version to them, told them he'd tried to help me understand professional boundaries, but I'd gotten defensive and blamed him instead. They actually suggested I apologize, to keep the peace, to move past the drama. I refused, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely alone. A week later, my cousin threw a birthday dinner at this upscale restaurant downtown. Extended family, the whole deal. I went hoping to confront Daniel privately, to set the record straight with someone, anyone. Daniel showed up late, made a grand entrance, worked the room like he always does. My aunt turned to me casually. So, I heard you're having some trouble at your job? My blood went cold. He'd told everyone, his version of course. From across the table, Daniel's voice cut through the chatter, loud enough for everyone to hear. It's unfortunate when professional boundaries get blurred by family. I had to set some limits for everyone's sake. My cousin blinked. Wait, Maya, did you actually copy Daniel's work proposal? Daniel held up his hands, playing magnanimous. I really don't want to discuss it here. Family's still family, regardless. My uncle jumped in. Maya, that's really disappointing behavior. Daniel's built such success and you trying to… You don't know what actually happened, I said, fighting tears. Nobody's even asked my side. My grandmother's voice was stern. Don't make a scene, dear. Daniel's just protecting his professional reputation, which is his right. I excused myself to the bathroom. On the way, I heard my aunts talking. She's always been somewhat jealous of his accomplishments, honestly. I left the dinner early, humiliated, burning with fury. But it got worse. A few days later, I got an email from Janet. The investigation was being extended another week. New evidence had been submitted. An anonymous tip claiming I had a pattern of taking credit for other people's work. The tip even included a fabricated story about plagiarism on a college group project. Daniel had gone to the same university, different program, but he could access records. He could make anything look real. He wasn't just protecting himself. He was actively, continuously destroying me. Then I saw his LinkedIn post. Sometimes the hardest part of professional success is protecting your intellectual property, even from those closest to you. Ter boundaries, aktu, integrity. Dozens of comments supporting him, colleagues praising his difficult position. My professional reputation was crumbling in real time. Even my best friend from work stopped responding to my texts. Too awkward, I guess. I was losing everything. My job, my family's support, my reputation. And then Daniel sent a text. If you just admit you made an honest mistake, I'll tell them to go easy on you. I'm genuinely trying to help here, Maya. I stared at that message for a long time, and I finally understood. He wasn't just protecting himself. He was enjoying this, watching me suffer, waiting for me to beg for his mercy. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to fight. See, there's something my brother didn't know about me, something he'd never bothered to notice. I'm meticulous. I document everything. I always have. I opened my laptop and pulled up the original campaign files. They were clearly dated 3 months back, with obvious version progression. Draft after draft. Research notes. Brainstorming documents. But more importantly, I remembered something else. After that, family dinner. I'd recorded a voice memo on my drive home. I do that sometimes. Process ideas out loud while I'm driving. I searched my phone. Found it. The timestamp? The day of the family dinner. Before Daniel's emails to my company. I played it. My own voice filled the quiet apartment, walking through the entire campaign concept in specific detail. Every element Daniel had later pitched as his own. What they didn't know was that I document everything. I always have. I kept digging. I checked our family text thread. Sure enough, Daniel had sent follow-up questions about my pitch after that dinner, and I'd responded enthusiastically, giving him more details. All of it time-stamped. All of it proof. I called my college roommate Priya. She works in HR compliance now at a different company. He filed a false intellectual property claim? She said, furious. That's not just unethical. It could be legally actionable. She offered to help me document everything properly. I also reached out to Mark directly, asked for the exact dates Daniel had first contacted him. Mark sounded uncomfortable. He actually called me the day right after your family dinner, asked if we were working on small business campaigns. When I mentioned you were leading one, he suddenly had this similar idea ready. He paused. Honestly, I'm not comfortable with how this whole thing went down, but Daniel was really persuasive. I hung up. I had everything now. Original files, voice memo, text evidence, witness testimony. My brother thought I'd just crumble under pressure like always. He didn't know I'd been quietly building my own case. Priya brought her partner Alex to meet with me. He's an employment lawyer who handles workplace disputes. Alex reviewed everything carefully. You have an exceptionally strong case here, but we need to be strategic about presentation. We developed a plan. Present a comprehensive evidence package to Janet formally. If the company didn't respond appropriately, pursue legal action against Daniel. Alex drafted a formal response document with all the evidence professionally attached and annotated. Meanwhile, Daniel kept getting more arrogant. He posted another LinkedIn update about rising above workplace drama with professional integrity and grace. My parents called again. Just apologize so this nightmare can be over. You're tearing the entire family apart over workplace politics. I was exhausted. I'm not apologizing for something I absolutely didn't do. Why are you being so stubborn about this? Mom's voice was exasperated. Just let it go. Because he's systematically lying, and none of you will even consider that possibility. I hung up, devastated but more resolved than ever. Then Daniel sent another text. Last chance, Maya. Admit it was an honest mistake, or I'm providing additional evidence to your boss tomorrow. I didn't respond, just took a screenshot. Priya encouraged me during prep. He's panicking. People who've actually... 1. Don't make desperate threats. I formally requested a meeting with Janet and HR. She agreed. She sounded tired of the whole messy situation. The night before the meeting, I checked the family group chat. Daniel had posted, "Meeting tomorrow should finally settle everything. I tried helping her, but she's made her choice." My uncle replied, "Good for you standing your ground, Daniel. Integrity matters." I screenshot that too. Alex prepped me that evening. Stay completely calm, stick to facts, let the evidence speak for itself. The morning of the meeting, my hands shook, but my resolve was steel. For years, I'd let him take credit, push me aside, diminish my accomplishments. Not this time. Never again. I arrived early with an organized folder, physical copies and digital files. Either I walk out with my dignity intact, or I walk out knowing I finally fought back. The meeting room was small. Janet sat at the head of the table, Tom, the HR director, to her right. Mark across from me. Janet opened formally. "Maya, we're giving you the opportunity to respond comprehensively to the allegations against you." My voice was calm, steady. "Thank you. I'd like to present evidence demonstrating that Daniel's claims are completely false." I pulled out the documentation packet. These are my original project files, dated 3 months prior with clear version control history. Tom examined the metadata. "These timestamps are definitely older than Daniel's initial emails to our company. I developed this campaign systematically over time," I said. "Here's the complete progression with dates." I showed them everything: development drafts, research notes, brainstorming documents, all chronologically time-stamped. Janet shifted uncomfortably. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned this project at a family dinner. I didn't share confidential client details, but I was excited and talked generally about it. I pulled out my phone, queued up the voice memo. "This is from my drive home that night." I pressed play. My own voice filled the room, walking through the entire campaign concept in specific detail. The timestamp displayed clearly, the day of the family dinner, before Daniel's emails. Mark shifted in his seat. "Daniel reached out to you the very next day," I said, looking at Mark. "And here's our family text exchange from that same night." I projected the messages, Daniel asking pointed follow-up questions, me answering enthusiastically, trusting him. All dated before his supposed independent pitch development. Tom reviewed everything carefully. "This is extremely compelling evidence regarding timeline and concept origination." My voice broke slightly. "My brother has spent his entire life taking credit for my work and ideas. When I finally had something significant, something completely mine, he couldn't tolerate it. So he systematically tried to destroy my career." Janet frowned. "But why would your own brother do something that calculated and cruel?" "You'd have to ask him directly," I said. "But I can definitively prove this concept was mine first and he stole it." Tom nodded. "We should bring Daniel into this conversation to respond to these allegations." Janet initiated a video call. Daniel joined with a confident smile. It immediately faded when he saw my evidence spread across the table. "What's happening here?" Tom kept his tone professional. "We're reviewing timeline evidence. Maya has substantial documentation showing she developed this campaign before your outreach to our company." He showed Daniel the compiled evidence on screen. Daniel's face went pale. "Well, it's possible we both independently had similar creative ideas." I cut him off. "You called Mark the day immediately after our family dinner. You specifically asked if we had small business campaigns in development, then suddenly pitched my exact concept." Mark finally spoke up. "That's actually completely accurate. The timing felt strange even then. I'd been thinking about this concept for months before." Daniel tried. I played the voice memo. My voice from the recording outlined specific elements, the exact same ones Daniel had later pitched identically. Daniel's face drained of color completely. "This is Family dinner conversation isn't legal proof of... Tom cut him off firmly. Actually, combined with file timestamps, text messages, and witness testimony, it establishes clear precedence and origination. Janet's voice was angry now. Daniel, did you deliberately fabricate an intellectual property claim to professionally undermine your own sister? She's always taking ideas and not giving proper credit for... My voice came out like steel. Name one specific time. One concrete example with actual evidence. Daniel floundered. Couldn't provide anything. This is extremely serious, Tom said. You filed demonstrably false claims that damaged an employee's reputation and threatened her livelihood. Janet leaned forward. We could legitimately pursue legal action against you for this misconduct. Daniel was visibly panicking. I was just trying to protect my own professional work. You were trying to sabotage me, I said quietly, because you couldn't stand watching me succeed independently without your involvement or approval. Heavy silence filled the room. Tom spoke first. Maya, your suspension is lifted immediately, with full back pay. We owe you a sincere apology. I'm genuinely sorry we didn't investigate more thoroughly from the beginning, Janet added. She turned to the screen. Daniel, we'll be sending you a formal cease and desist letter. If you contact anyone at this company again, we will pursue legal action. Daniel tried to speak. Janet ended the call. After everyone left, I sat alone in that conference room, shaking with adrenaline. Overwhelming relief. Tom came back briefly. For what it's worth, what you did today took remarkable courage, I exhaled. I just couldn't let him win. Not this time. I returned to work the next day. My coworkers were awkward at first, but increasingly respectful. The campaign pitch moved forward. I presented it to the client with renewed confidence. They loved it. It became a major long-term account for the company. Janet apologized again privately. Then she offered me a promotion to senior coordinator. The family fallout came slowly. My parents called after Daniel finally confessed. His version, of course. Things just got out of hand. Why didn't you just come talk to us more clearly about this? Mom asked. I was exhausted. I tried repeatedly. You refused to believe me over him. My father was quieter, more reflective. We should have listened to your side. We failed you. Yes, I said honestly. You absolutely should have believed your daughter. I didn't accept immediate reconciliation. I needed time, space, clear boundaries. Daniel sent a lengthy apologetic text. I was jealous of your talent. I'm truly sorry. I messed up terribly. I read it. Didn't respond. I wasn't interested in his regret. I was focused on my own peace. My grandmother called. But family is family, dear. Real family should protect each other, I said firmly, not systematically destroy each other. I hung up, feeling powerful, clear, not guilty anymore. I blocked Daniel on all professional platforms permanently. I told my parents, if you want any relationship with me moving forward, you need to fully acknowledge what he did was deliberately wrong. Eventually, over months, they started coming around. Started seeing Daniel's lifelong pattern more clearly. I focused on work, genuine friendships, rebuilding my life. 3 months later, I was thriving. New senior role. Dating someone genuinely kind. Confidence fully rebuilt. I ran into Daniel at an unavoidable family event. He looked diminished somehow, carrying visible shame. He tried apologizing in person, seeking forgiveness. I looked at him calmly. I heard you, but forgiveness isn't automatic or immediate. You tried to ruin my entire life. I know, he said quietly. I deeply regret it. Good. Maybe that regret will stop you from doing this to someone else. I walked away. Didn't look back once. For the first time in my life, his approval didn't matter at all. I'd proven myself to myself. And that was finally enough. If you're watching this and you've ever dealt with a jealous sibling or family members who refuse to believe you, I see you. Your experience is valid. It took everything I had emotionally to stand up for myself that way. But I'm so grateful I finally did. The truth doesn't always come out easily or automatically. Sometimes you have to fight hard for it with everything you have. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your location in the comments below. I genuinely read every single one. And if you've ever had to prove yourself against impossible odds, subscribe and share your story with our community. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. You matter. Don't let anyone, family or not, steal your light or diminish your accomplishments. Thanks for listening to my story. And remember, you're so much stronger than you think.